The morning of the competition arrived quietly. No drums, no announcement, no sign that anything special was about to happen. Yet Amarachi woke up before the sun. She sat on the edge of her bed, the room still wrapped in the blue hush of dawn, and held the wooden star in her hands. It felt warmer than usual, not because it had changed, but because she had. For the first time since her father died, her heart was steady. Not fearless, not perfect, just steady. Mama Ada watched from the doorway as Amarachi tied her bag. She didn't speak at first. She only placed her palm gently on her daughter's back and whispered a prayer so soft it barely touched the air. "Go," she said finally. "Whether you return with a crown or with tears, go as yourself." Chidera hugged Amarachi's waist tightly. "Don't forget us," the little girl said, half joking, half afraid. Amarachi smiled and knelt to her sister's height. "I could never forget where my voice was born." The bus ride to the city was long. Through the window, Amarachi watched the village fade, the clay houses, the dust paths, the familiar corners where fear once lived. She expected her chest to tighten. It didn't. Instead, she felt something else. Space. At the venue, contestants gathered, confident voices, rehearsed laughter, clothes chosen carefully to impress. Some had coaches, some had parents with cameras. Some had already won smaller competitions before. Amarachi stood quietly among them. Someone asked her where she was from. "A village," she replied simply. The girl nodded politely and turned away. Amarachi didn't mind. For once, she wasn't here to be chosen by people. She was here because she had chosen herself. Behind the curtain, the air was thick with nerves. One girl cried softly into her hands. Another paced, muttering lines under her breath. A boy stared at the ceiling, whispering prayers. Amarachi sat still. She reached into her pocket and touched the wooden star. Her fingers stopped trembling. She didn't rehearse anymore. She remembered. She remembered the whispers at school. The nights she doubted herself. The hall where her voice first shook. The moment she almost walked away and said yes instead. That was the story. Her name was called. Not shouted. Not celebrated. Just spoken. Yet when Amarachi stepped onto the stage, something shifted. The lights were bright, but they didn't blind her. The audience was large, but they didn't swallow her. She stood still. Then she spoke. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Truthfully. She told them about a girl who learned silence early. About grief that didn't scream, but sat quietly in the chest. About fear that pretended to be wisdom. About a wooden star carved by a father who believed before the world did. Her voice didn't break. It carried. People leaned forward. Somewhere in the audience, a woman wiped her eyes. A man stopped writing notes. A judge forgot to check the time. Amarachi wasn't performing anymore. She was testifying. When she finished, there was no rush to clap. There was a pause. Then the room rose. Not just applause, respect. Results took hours. Contestants sat in silence now, no longer comparing, no longer boasting. Something had humbled them all. Amarachi waited calmly. She wasn't thinking about winning. She had already crossed the line she feared the most. When the judges returned, the lead judge adjusted his glasses and spoke slowly. "We heard many talented voices today," he said, "but one story did not ask for permission to be heard." He called her name. First place. Amarachi didn't cry. She closed her eyes and breathed. The village didn't know yet. When the bus returned at dusk, Mama Ada was sweeping the compound. She looked up and dropped the broom. Chidera ran first. Amarachi didn't announce anything. She just knelt and pressed the wooden star into her mother's palm. Mama Ada understood. She held her daughter and wept, not loudly, but deeply. That night, the village gathered. Not because Amarachi had won a competition, but because one of their own had returned changed. Later, alone in her room, Amarachi placed the wooden star on the table. It no longer felt like a reminder. It felt like a beginning. She understood something now. Victory was never the stage. Victory was never the applause. Victory was the moment she stopped shrinking. And with that understanding, Amarachi slept. Not dreaming of fear, not chasing approval, but resting in who she had become. Some people wait for the world to give them permission. Others speak, and the world learns to listen.